Justice League of America's Vibe number 7, written by Sterling Gates, art by Andre Guinaldo. Last issue, all of the monsters broke out of their cells, or I say monsters, creatures, characters, whatever you want to call them, and we were introduced to a new one, whatever his name is, we'll get to it, but turns out that it's actually Cisco's long-lost brother, Armando. So this issue picks up 5 years ago, as the wake or the viewing for Armando is happening. Cisco is out crying in the rain, and Dante comes up and says, like, hey, we got to go to the viewing, come on. And he's like, oh, he's not even there, it's just a picture of Armando. And it's like, oh, just remember, Armando loved you, he always will. And of course, now at this point, his name is Rupture, and he's floating above Cisco, and Cisco's like, are you seriously my brother? And he's like, what? Huh? I kind of recognize... Okay, nope, never mind. No, I'm Rupture. I work for Mordeth, and I am a servant of the darkness, and I'm here to kill Gypsy. So at that point, Gypsy starts running. Rupture puts back on his mask, and Cisco's like, geez, I didn't expect this today. So him and Rupture get into a beam struggle. They start attacking each other. As they attack each other, Rupture is like, I'm not actually here for you. You're in my way, but I'm just going to go after Gypsy now that I knocked you back. So, bye. And he flies off. Meanwhile, as their energies hit each other, it apparently is enough to weaken the dimensional barriers, blah, blah, blah. Point being, a giant dragon comes through, and Vibe now has to fight against it. So, we cut to Dante, who apparently survived, and he's being carried out by Agent Gunn. And Gunn's like, yeah, I injected you with like a thing that's going to keep you alive. We can use it in the battlefield. Here's the deal. The entire area has been locked down. This is a code Omni. Everyone's freaking out because our entire systems are down. I am going to get you out of here because that's a promise I made. And then all of a sudden this giant like faux parademon busts through the wall. Agent Gunn shoots in the head a few times and takes it out. And he's like, remember that armor I snuck you in? I'm going to put you back in it. And that's somehow, it's going to go into like stealth mode. It's going to break out. Doesn't matter. Point being is you'll be fine. And Dante's like, wait, hold on. I feel like I saw my brother earlier. And Gunn's like, can't hear you. Bye. So he runs off, continues to fight some monsters down the hall. We see Rupture is stalking Gypsy, and he's like, oh yes, I've scanned countless worlds. Of course you'd be on this one that I can't reach because of the block or whatever. But now I'm able to get in because the walls have weakened. And Gypsy tries going invisible. Of course he can see her. So she's just like, oh, stay back. And he's like, she's got like a gun. And he's like, you honestly think a gun's like, I am Rupture. What are you thinking, you stupid girl? And at that point, Vibe shows up and he's just like, she was just trying to distract you. And so Rupture goes through a few walls. Cisco tries to get more answers. He's like, Armando, bro, where'd you go? Why didn't you come back home? And he's like, I don't answer questions to puny people like you. And Cisco just keeps on pushing him, trying to get an answer. We see Gunn is attacked by a giant snake monster and is about to die, or at least be eaten. And then Amanda Waller shows up with a minigun. And he's like, oh, thank you, Waller. And she's like, don't thank me. This is all your fault. We are seriously going to have a discussion about you, because this is years of efforts gone. And it turns out their main focus right now, that all their systems are failing, is to protect the Omega Room, which is where the daughter of Darkseid is, because they cannot absolutely let her get out. So we see Rupture is attacking them, and based off of some things that Rupture said of like, oh, and you've been running ever since or whatever, Vibe put together that Gypsy wasn't telling the total truth about her story. So he manages to get her aside and says, like, look, if I'm going to protect you and everyone else here, I need to know the full truth right now. So she explains, many years ago, Rupture fell from the skies. He had some power, but everyone thought he was like a god because he just descended from the heavens. A queen named Mordeth cared for him, and on the condition that he serve her, she brainwashed him, turned him into this being of death, and used him to hunt down her and her people. And it turns out her father is actually dead, and Rupture is the one who killed him with his own two hands. So at that point, Cisco's like, okay, thank you for the story. Armando, I know you're still in there. I saw you break through your programming. Please, I know you're in there. And Rupture's like, Cisco? you have powers like me? And he's like, yes, I do. I can do the same things you can. He's like, cool, I need a recharge. So he zaps Cisco with his super scythe or something like that, which allows him to start absorbing the energy of Cisco to bend the walls of reality. He grabs Gypsy and they start warping out of there. And as the warp happens, some sort of wave envelops everybody, but I can't tell what happens. It looks like it's just electronics go down, so I don't know. At that point, Gunn and Waller are making their way towards the Omega Room. Bad news, though, because the systems are down. Darkseid's daughter manages to escape as we see a huge hole in the ceiling. So Gunn's like, well, what's the problem? We caught her once, we'll catch her again. And Waller's like, you idiot, it's not that. You think she's going to fall for the same tricks again? You stupid idiot. I want to find that stupid kid that you hired and I'm going to strangle him. Where is Vibe anyway? And we see the gaping hole that was left from Rupture and Gypsy teleporting out. And it turns out Cisco's going along for the ride because he's still hooked by the chest to his sickle. So, yeah, that's the book. I like it. I think it is a solid little bit here because I gotta say I appreciate the fact that it's not as easy to break the brainwashing as just Armando, it's me, your brother. Like, no, it's brainwashing. The whole point of that is that like he doesn't care about that anymore. Even if he does remember, he doesn't care. So I'm down with that. As for the other story of like why Gypsy was lying or something, I think she used the excuse of like, oh, I couldn't risk putting people in danger or something like that. Like, it's a stupid excuse, which I think it doesn't need to be done that way, but it doesn't hurt anything the way they did it either. So net zero on that. Beyond that, I don't know. It just kind of feels like a really fast-paced issue because the fight is still just going on and it doesn't feel like any side made any major gains except for Rupture teleporting them out in the very like last page. So most of the issue is kind of like, yeah, we're just kind of dealing with the fallout of Armando still alive, but barely. So I'm gonna say this is like a flat 7. It's fine. It's good. I didn't hate reading it, but I also didn't like jump for joy. It's just an average book. It's perfectly competent in everything it does. So yeah, 7.